A ceasefire appears to be holding in South Sudan's capital, Juba, after 4 days of intense fighting between rival forces, which left almost 300 people dead. Local reports suggest the city is quiet, with no reports of helicopter gunships in the sky or tanks on the streets.
The current chaos in South Sudan threatens to plunge the nation back into civil war. Things got so heated that the U.S. went ahead to implement an ordered departure of its staff from the country.
The United Nations Security Council, the African Union, and regional partners have been actively engaged in calling on the leaders in South Sudan to commit to the full and immediate implementation of the peace agreement, including the permanent ceasefire. We strongly urge that the two leaders do everything in their power to ensure these decrees will be fully respected and unfettered humanitarian assistance will be provided to those affected by the violence.
Even those who have been playing their part in keeping the peace have ended up paying with their lives. The UN Secretary General, Mr. Ban Ki-moon, has not only condemned the killing of 2 Chinese peacekeepers, but also the renewed violence.
Let me start by expressing my deep condolences to the families and loved ones of all those who have been killed in the fighting that has consumed Juba over the past 4 days. I condemn the killing of 2 Chinese peacekeepers and 1 UN national staff. The renewed fighting is outrageous. It is yet another grievous setback. It deepens the country's suffering. It makes a mockery of commitments to peace. Many people have been killed in heavy fighting. There are growing fears that many more could die in another round of violence.
A Rwandan peacekeeper also paid with his life, and the incident was addressed by a South Sudanese diplomat.
First of all, on behalf of the government, we regret the event that led to the death of the Chinese peacekeepers as well as the Rwandese peacekeeper.
For now, there are a large number of people who have left their homes. The United Nations puts the number of those displaced at 36,000. Aid workers now have the grim task of dealing with those who have died.
Wednesday, July the 13th, is poised to be a big day for Great Britain as the British Prime Minister David Cameron officially resigns to make way for a new Prime Minister at number 10 Downing Street. UK's current Home Secretary Theresa May will be replacing Mr. Cameron as other candidates who were supposed to contest dropped out, making it very clear that they would not contest for the position. But what would a UK government led by Theresa May mean for not just the African community living in the United Kingdom, but the immigrant community in general, and of course, Brexit? Joining us to answer these questions and more is immigration and human rights lawyer, Dr. Mr. Dayo Fadina. Mr. Dayo, thank you so much for Mr. Fadina, thank you so much for speaking to us on Network Africa.
Oh, you're welcome. Good afternoon.
We understand that some people are calling for snap elections as opposed to Theresa May just becoming Prime Minister automatically because there is nobody opposing our bid. What are your thoughts on this?
I beg your pardon, I did not catch the last sentence.
We understand that snap elections are being called for by some people in the United Kingdom, as opposed to Theresa May just automatically becoming the Prime Minister of Great Britain tomorrow. What are your thoughts on this?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, thank you. First of all, we should appreciate and realize the fact that Theresa May has now been, elected the Prime Minister of the UK. She's not actually gone through any trial as far as the Tory members are concerned. It was more or less a coronation as far as I'm concerned. And whether there will be any snap elections at all, for her to confirm and solidify our state as a leader of the Tory party, I do not think that would happen, and it would not happen for one simple reason: the Brexit campaign and the results that ensued the Brexit campaign. There were so many people who actually voted, to leave. and they are very, very anti-Tory. Anti-Tory in the sense that if she should call for a snap elections, I could just see so many UKIP voters, millions of them, actually voting against the Tory party. And for that reason, I don't think she would indeed want to call a snap election.
What is the reaction of the African community to this?
Hello?
I asked you, how is the African community in the United Kingdom reacting to the news that Theresa May would be the next Prime Minister of the United Kingdom?
Well, I think the reaction from the immigrant community, the ethnic minority, the reaction, I would say, is quite mixed. Mixed in the sense that there are some people who still believe in Theresa May, and they believe that she would bring sanity and hope to so many people in the UK, particularly immigrants. But as far as I'm concerned, with all due respect to Theresa May, I do not actually trust her at all when it comes to the welfare, and the status of so many immigrants and ethnic minorities in the UK. And the reason being that when you look at our track record, while she was the Home Secretary, our track record was quite appalling, really, when it came to the ethnic minority and immigrants in the UK. She was under our watch. I'm not sure what anybody would remember when this was about 2 years ago. Under our watch, there was a situation where the Tory government was threatening non-immigrants to go back home. There was a van, parading the whole of London, telling immigrants that if you are illegal, go back home, or else you'll be arrested. That's the kind of track record we have as far as Theresa May is concerned. She's also hell-bent on traction and, tearing down the Human Rights Act, which I would say is the only hope, really, and hope and saving grace for so many immigrants in the UK. She's made it very, very clear that she would continue to deport so many immigrants as possible from the UK. So that's our track record. So for that reason, I would not even want to actually trust her as far as I could throw her when it comes to the welfare and the well-being of immigrants in the UK.
Let me come in here. There was a word you used. According to you, she said, illegal immigrants will be sent back home, which is her responsibility as a Home Secretary to make sure that United Kingdom is kept safe and things are done properly. So in that context, she is actually doing her job. But, the question now is moving forward with Brexit, and of course, the major concern, a lot of people believe this whole Brexit situation is how immigrants are able to just flow into the United Kingdom. She is taking a bigger step. She's going to be the Prime Minister of UK starting from tomorrow. Do you see any changes or any tweaking of some of her policies? But we cannot say that, this is the position of former Prime Minister. He's going to be former by tomorrow, which is David Cameron. We cannot say this is exactly his position. His position on let me come in quickly here, on immigrants. So far under him, it does appear that immigrants did enjoy some level of acceptance as long as you're not illegal. Now, she is representing the Tory party moving forward. How do you see this play out when she becomes Prime Minister tomorrow?
Well, thank you very much. Again, I go back to the last answer I gave to one of the questions to do with Theresa May. You see, what really happens is, the straw would, the wind would always actually go in the direction the straw is blowing. You see, past events, in effect, cast their shadows before them. I go back to our antecedents, what she's done in the past. Honestly, I cannot see much difference in when it comes to the Tory government's immigration policy. Now that Theresa May is the Prime Minister, you would recall that for well over about 6 years, she's been the Home Secretary, and she's been holding forth for immigration policy and regulations as far as they concern the UK. She's done, our draconian and oppressive immigration rules and regulations have actually affected millions of people in this country. She paints every single, going by most of our policies, what they do is they paint every single immigrant as if that person is so illegal. They even give the impression that it seems that every single immigrant has terrorist inclinations and want to actually do damage to the UK. That's not the case. That's been our track record. And I cannot see us changing that very particular way of thinking now that she's Prime Minister. If anything, because of the Brexit vote and the fact that the majority of people who actually voted for Brexit are anti-immigrants, she would more or less continue with the policies she considered in the last 6 years, and even make it more draconian as far as I'm concerned.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Dayo Fadina, for sharing your thoughts on this. Immigration and human rights lawyer speaking to us there from London.